tonight we just had a fantastic panel with Patrick, Alexandra and Maike, who were from Brno, Czech Republic, Singapore and then Berlin, where we talked about how coworking can contribute to the, and this is a hard word, revitalization of buildings and neighborhoods. We are then now moving on to our next conversation and our next guests, which as a reminder are all spaces you can find in the book. They're featured inside. And to introduce them, I would like to show you this map, which is a map of Berlin. And this is probably how Berlin looked like back in 2005, before the official arrival of the first co-working space in the city. Fast forward today, if we look at the co-working map of Berlin, this is what you get on page 1 of Google. So there are quite a few more than that. So 15 years, and this is what we got, which is kind of impressive. And then a question comes to our mind, and which is, what kind of impact can collaborative workspaces truly have on their members and on their cities? So when we went from this to that, what impact does it make? And joining me on stage today to discuss the topic will be Tessa Moroder from Lottozero in Italy, Yoshio Tsuda from Morino-Office in Japan. Hey! And then
Hi.
Pietri from Nast City Lab in Barcelona.
Hi, hello.
Hey guys, so nice to see you all. And we also have Alessandra, who is a part of the team of Tessa, and you will understand very soon what's the correlation between all of this. How is everyone doing? Good?
Great.
Great.
Super. Can we maybe start with a little introduction about each and every one of you? And maybe for a better listening experience, you can mute yourselves while the others are chatting. Tessa, as you're on top of my screen, would you like to start and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Tessa Moroder from. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling too good today. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
My voice. From Lottozero in Prato, Italy. We're a center for textile art, design, and textile culture. We were born, well, the idea was born a long time ago, but the space in itself, it took a lot of work to prepare. And so the space opened in October 2016. So we've been open now for 5 years. And we are in our physical space in Prato. We have a variety of areas. I would say the most important one, obviously, the name says it, it's the Textile Lab, where we reproduce on a smaller scale a variety of the techniques that are available in the textile district of Prato. Not a lot of people know this, but Prato is just a 20 minutes train ride from Italy. And it is one of the most important textile districts of Europe and the world, also for innovation and companies. There's 8,000 companies still working in fashion and textiles. So in our little lab, we like to reproduce the techniques that can be done then industrially in the actual companies. Here we can create prototypes, we can do a lot of experimentation. We can just be really creative, collaborate, invent new things, try crazy things. And yes, some of the pictures that you see here, I think it's quite evident which ones are of the lab. Then obviously we have a co-working space, a shared studio space, because with people working in fashion and textiles, you can't really talk about co-working. A lot of people don't just bring their computer, put it. So we have, people bringing their looms, people bringing a lot of machinery, archives. So we call it something between a co-working and a studio space. And well, sadly, this part of our hub was very affected by COVID, and so we're just now rebuilding up and getting new people to come and getting people, have to have residencies and come and share the studio with us. And then, and I think not less important, we have an exhibition space because we are on the cusp between art and design. We have, we call it the Kunsthalle. Berliners will understand me. It's an artist-led space for art. And obviously, we dedicate it mainly to art created with the textile matter and with working with artists who are trying to either experiment with textiles or they have been working with textiles for a long time. And usually it's in combination with our lab. So they will come to our lab, they will work, produce there, and then we obviously exhibit the results of their production. This is for everything we do in the space. Obviously here today we're talking about spaces, so this is the most important part. But then we also have Studio Lottozero, which is more digital version of our activities, which is a creative consultancy company. We do textile design. We help young designers and artists find materials, help them find production means, help them with their product management. So this part is more of a more classical design and fashion production agency work. I think that's
And
it.
just it's quite a lot already. And
maybe I'll mention briefly, because it's quite a new
go
project. We have the Lottozero directory on our website, which is a directory of young Italian designers working in a sustainable manner. So on our website, you can find about 100 young brands of young Italian designers that we strongly believe in and that we support.
Nice. And for people who, like me, are not extremely knowledgeable in Italian geography, can you just say what's the biggest city next to Prato?
Yes, I think it's Florence. I mean, Prato is very close to, it's just an hour and 10 minutes train ride away from Milan and Rome, but it's central, and it's 20 minutes from Florence.
Okay. Now people can locate it. Yoshio, what about you? Can you introduce yourself and also talk a little bit about what's Morino-Office?
Sure. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. My name is Yoshio Tsuda. I run this place, Morino-Office. The Mori is a forest in Japanese, so you can obviously just imagine our office surrounded by forest, and which it is. It is located in Fujimi. It's not a city; it's a town. It's a really small town of 14,000 people right now, and it's about 2.5 hours away from Tokyo, which is the biggest city in Japan. You can ride either express, or you can drive by car, take a highway bus, and it takes about 2.5 hours. And the Morino-Office started in 2015, and it's been running for now 6 years now. And the main mission of Morino-Office was, since the population of this town is decreasing by like 160 to 180 people a year. Well, it's happening everywhere in Japan. The most of the population is going to Tokyo and decreasing in other rural areas. So to stop that, the town government decided to help bring in more people who can remote work from and go away from Tokyo. And that's how it started. But and I personally had a desire to get away from the city. I used to live in Yokohama and work in Tokyo, but probably most of the people know that in Tokyo the train ride in the morning is like hell. It's really crowded, and even back in 10 years ago, there were a lot of depression in the workers and in the city side. And I was working in Sony, and before that I was working in advertising agency, and it's really hard work. And I had a personal desire to get away from Tokyo, work more like collaboratively, project-based work way of work. And I found out about this town of Fujimi, and also I really loved the mountainside. And since Fujimi is 1,000 meters above sea level, and it is located in the highland, and also like the hood of this Yatsugatake mountain area, So yeah, I had a desire to live in that place and also help the town government realize this idea of bringing people in from Tokyo and still do remote. And
Yeah.
the town government didn't know about the co-working spaces, but I presented to them, and we have find this the abandoned wooden facility that Pauline is showing on the slide. Um, and we renovated the place to make it a co-working space, and also we have a place to stay in the facility as well. And also you can work outside, since there's a big garden and big forest in the outside of the Morino-Office. So and Wi-Fi is in the outside as well. So you can work from in and out, and you can stay as well. Yeah.
And I just want to add that the mayor of Fujimi, who helped you a lot with the project, if I'm not mistaken, he's 80 years old, right?
I think
Or
this
was
year,
it
I think he's
70 or something?
yes, he's probably 79. I might get him upset, but I'm not really sure. But he was former mayor, and now
Yeah.
he has resigned. But yeah, he was, I think, back then he was like 74 or 5, but he was like really forward to this project. It was very innovative, I guess.
This
for,
is, yeah,
coming
exactly
to
the point where I
the-
want to get at. That there is no age to understand how you can impact and change any town or any city, actually. And
Yeah,
one
but the
thing also
funny thing is,
go
but the
for it,
funny
go for it.
thing is, yeah, he wanted to bring people in who can work remote, but he didn't understand the term of freelance.
Yeah.
He never saw these people before, so that was funny.
And one thing you also didn't mention about Fujimi is that you guys have a mountain where people can ski and snowboard, which is very nearby your space. Like, how much time does it take to go? I think, is it 10 minutes driving
Yeah,
to
it's
go snowboard?
10 minutes. Yeah. Last time Pauline and Dimitar came, there was a really good snow that day.
Yeah.
So, but you two were tired, so I went snowboarding. And
Yeah.
I always in the winter I always snowboard for 1 or 2 lifts and come to Morino-Office and then open it. So yeah, that's kind of a thing that we can do. And also at the summertime we can climb. We can go rock climbing, do hiking, and also like the mountain biking is really awesome here. So yeah, I think we
Yeah.
can do a lot of outdoor sports here.
Yeah, definitely worth checking for anyone like us waiting for the borders of Japan to reopen in 2022. This is definitely, you should put Fujimi on your list. Val, I'm turning to you now. Can you talk to us a little bit about who you are and also maybe introduce Nest City Lab and Apocapoc?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm getting so excited. All the project sounds amazing. Congratulations to all of you. and thank you for them to open all those doors to, all these places in the world. That's so exciting. Yes, so I'm Val, and I live in Barcelona, where we started a project in 2013, which was called Apocapoc, which means step by step, little by little in English. And the idea for us was to be able to explore how we could transition towards sustainability as a community, and to put everything together to make it easier, fun, and pleasurable even, and not to see it, as a world of restriction, but more as a word of like a solidarity, of discovering new ways of doing things, or getting back to old ways of doing things. And so we started with a small project in the city center of Barcelona, which is a city in Spain, just by the Mediterranean Sea, really close to the mountains as well. There's a very international crowd in Barcelona, so it's normally very open in mind and attitude. And we started with a small project where we tried out everything that we wanted to do in a bigger scale. And so we ran that project in the city center, the old town. And then we went to the bigger project, which is the one that you see on the pictures here. And it's called the Nest City Lab. And what we try to do at the Nest City Lab is really to try to impact on a daily basis. So it's not a big ambition. It's more about changing your habits on a daily basis, on how you interact with the world, which means, how where you take your water from, where you take your food from, how do you interact with people around you, how well you take care of yourself. So the space is basically offering plenty of options to do that. And so we have a farm, like an aeroponic farms, where we produce veggies and green leaves. We have an edible forest in the center of the space, which is based on permaculture principle. I'm French too, so like food is important. So you can see like the main space is related to meals, you know, and so that's where we get together as members and as a community, I could say now, to be able to have those great conversations and just evolve together. And I would say when we enter in the space and when we enter as a member, it doesn't really matter where you are at. It's just more like the intention of changing and that wheel, that powerful wheel that can take you ways. And it doesn't really matter if just at the beginning of that transition or if you're already well in the transition. And by having that community of practice, we can all evolve together more rapidly. So I don't know if you want any more details about the space, or that was good enough.
I mean, we'll get down to it in a few minutes. One question I wanted to ask you, though, I remember in Apocapoc you had these chefs, like flying chefs, if I can call it this way, that they were coming in, using the food you were producing from the garden and cooking for the community. Do you still have this in the new space? I forgot to ask you the other day we spoke.
Yeah, we actually do. It took like the shape of it is a bit different. So instead of having so many chefs, you know, on a daily basis changing every day, we have like members which are residents and they're here for more than like many months, you know. And so right now we have like 2 great members. One of them is called Vaca, and they also like a plant-based cheese maker, and they make like this incredible cheese, you know. And they also offer, you know, plant-based dishes and options. And then we have Taos Living, which is more on the coffee side of the nutrition part, you know. So like and they have makers coming almost every day to offer different type of dishes from all around the world, all plant-based and organic. So we still have the Lab Cuina project. That was the project is called Lab Cuina, which is in Catalan means Cocina kitchen laboratory. And it's still going on and it's still exciting, and we still get to discover like amazing tastes and colors and diversity in the food and everything. Yes.
Oh, nice. I hope I can come back soon to try it.
Yeah.
Tessa, I would like to turn to you now. And I know you came with Alessandra. So actually, I would like to, can you maybe, Alessandra, introduce yourself? And Tessa, I think you wanted to talk to us before we dive into more things about a project you guys are running at Lottozero at the moment. Tessa, you're muted, by the way.
One of our big things that we do is we really try to create contact with all the other labs working in textiles and fashion. Well, with all of them, but then specifically with the one in textiles and fashion. And this was a project our curator, Alessandra, before when I wanted to introduce her, she disappeared. Yeah. She's working on, so she will talk about it.
Okay. Yes, Alessandra, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. And sorry, I had a small technical problem before.
Oh, good.
So, yes. I'm the curator at Lottozero and for the activities related to contemporary art. And in this case, I would like to briefly present you an example of an international collaboration we did last September with a creative hub based in Japan, in Hirokawa. This hub, called Hirokawa New Edition, is operating into the textile field, like us, like Lottozero, and is based in an historical textile district where coexist artisanal traditions and industrial productions. So we wanted to create an exchange of knowledge and experiences, and we realized this exchange of online seminars where we presented our production areas, our best practices, and our experiences, trying to create a bridge between these different textile district and trying to present these experiences to our community, because these seminars were open to all our followers. They could register online for free. And so the Hirokawa New Edition presented this particular textile tradition related to this traditional ikat cotton textile called kurume kazuri. So they presented how the production still work now. It's semi-industrial, but we can find in the area still some artisanal workshop who still work with natural dyeing and looms. And while Lottozero presented some example related to fashion and textile production taken from the Prato textile districts, well, we can say our best sustainable practices, such as the process of the regeneration of wool, where new fabrics and new threads are made from old garments and leftovers of the textile production. So this was a great opportunity for us to share and compare experiences, ideas, best practices. And also it was also an attempt to educate to the culture of sustainability, and also to prepare the ground for further collaboration that could happen in the future, also where when we could skip to the real exchange in presence and not virtual. And this project was founded by the Asia Europe Foundation.
Yeah, it's written here. And actually, Alessandra and Tessa, it's a great bridge to my next question to the two of you, because this conversation is all about talking about the impact of collaborative workspaces on people and on cities. So how, for instance, having such a collaboration with Hirokawa also helped or impacted your members and their work?
This is a hard question. I read it before, but it's really hard for me to answer, because when we created Lottozero, we really thought that our main target would be our local community, whereas this is not true at all. And we just realized this after. Obviously, we have people working in our space that are from our immediate area, 10, 15 kilometers. But the truth is, the people that come to Lottozero are people from all over the world. So our bigger target, our target from further away, has become more bigger than the local target. So we, and that's why we have these collaborations from everywhere, because people just write to us from all over the world. They're interested in knowing more about Prato. They're interested to come to Prato for 1, 2, 3 months, sometimes even more, 6 months. So yeah, I think the main impact is that we started to bring all these people that did not come to Prato before, did not know about Prato before. We started bringing them to Prato, and now they're interacting with the local community. And so this is something that didn't exist before. And I think this is the biggest impact.
And actually, I also remember that during our live on Instagram that we did earlier that year, you were also explaining how, because you said it in the introduction, that you guys are located, and please correct me if I don't say it correctly, you're located in the neighborhood where all other factories for textile are based, right? And you were explaining, or kind of...
No, it was the first neighborhood with textile factories, but these textile factories, they've been abandoned because they were too small at a certain point. So this is why we have so many empty spaces in our area, but there's still a lot of textile factories in our area as well.
Because I remember you were explaining how, through the existence of Lottozero, you also act as a dot connector between your members and the expertise they might seek, and people from the city who have that expertise.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, that's exactly one of the things we do. And people, they don't even believe their eyes. And this is people who work in textiles and fashion. So it's people that actually maybe normally we would think they would know these things, but they don't, because obviously it's such a traditional district. The communication, they don't use social media. Sometimes they don't even use websites. So we've become really like a tunnel to bring all these people to Prato and have them interact with the locals. Yes.
And just to clarify for people watching this now about the type of profession that your members are doing, can you explain some of them? Like, what are their businesses all about?
I would say the 30-40% is little brands, small companies of fashion. Another 30-40%, I know there's not, is textile designers, and then the rest is artists working with textiles.
Okay.
Alessandra will say maybe more artists, but I think this is the right proportion.
And Alessandra, just a question to you for people wanting to read more about this project. Where can they discover more?
We have some presentation of the project on our website in the news section, where you can scroll down and find all our past events. And there are some links for knowing more about this Japanese creative hub that is also connected to a textile lab called Kibiru. Well, if you go into their website, most of the information are on Japanese.
Japanese, yeah.
Yes, and also
I see Yoshio is laughing.
Well, the seminars were actually in both languages. So they were in Japanese with an instant English translation, because for them it's really important to express and present these projects in their language. So yeah, the language can be a
little challenge.
Yes, but we are working on this.
Yes. Nice. Yoshio, I'm turning to you then now, because I would love to discuss a little bit more about the impact of Morino-Office. Can you talk to us about the impact on the city? Because, I mean, I can help you there because I've noticed it, but can you maybe, for instance, explain how you support the local restaurants and you bring them towards your community, or how people use the space maybe to also integrate within Fujimi when they move in?
Yeah, well, first of all, before that, I mean, I was fascinated by this Hirokawa and Prato's collaboration. This is why I love listening to all the story of the co-working spaces. I didn't really know about this, and I just looked up in the Google map where the Hirokawa town is. But it's really awesome to see these kind of international collaboration between cities and towns. Yeah, but yeah, well. Going back to my story, yeah. Well, we have before I talk about all the restaurants and also the really local startups project, but for our space, half of our mission is to bring people in from Tokyo to help increase the population of Fujimi. So that's the main mission the town government is holding, and we are for them to realize that goal. And after COVID happened, a lot more people are coming in, and we were able to increase the population. Well, there are still a decrease in population, but we kind of overwhelmed that by increasing the population. So I guess like 1 or 2%. So it's slightly increasing right now. And other half of our mission is more personal. Like I said, I wanted to create more collaborative and also project-based style of work, rather than just working in a single corporate job. And I wanted to realize that myself. And after 6 years, I've been doing those kind of style work right now, and so is others. And after running for 6 years, we've created more than 120 projects within Morino-Office and around the area. And those are like a little small project to some big project, like client project. And also, we didn't have a direct effect, but a lot more people are moving in to start small shops and restaurants in Fujimi. There are a lot of abandoned houses, abandoned facilities which were used to be like a store or a restaurant, but it's not been used for like, I don't know, like 10 or 20 years. And a lot more people are coming into from the city side who used to do some restaurants in Tokyo, but they tend to be more in the smaller area or more quieter area, and opening up some like really good restaurants and shops. And the reason why they are coming in is because there are more people coming in from the seaside who are like working on like creative jobs, design, web design, video artist. These people help or affect the other people who wants to like open the shops and restaurants. And when they do that, they can come to Morino-Office to discuss about like what kind of communication they can do to open the shop. Like for example, designs and logos and like their shop names and stuff. And we can help them like do brainstorm together, and also connect with the other designers, planners, or maybe like architects people who are also in Fujimi around this area. And so they can, instead of finding their own connections, they have more boost with us by getting connected with the local residents and also the previous movers from Tokyo.
For me, it's quite amazing to see how, like, through the existence of your space, you really, really changed Fujimi. Like, we went 2 times actually to Fujimi. We went one time, the first time was in the summer, and the second time we went in the winter. And I think there was about a year and a half of a time difference. And we saw how much through your space you completely changed the small town, like more restaurants. You were also talking, I mean, just as an example, I also want to highlight that you made a market. So Yoshio took his members and the products they were doing, and they went to Tokyo to make a mini market where everybody was exhibiting what they were doing. So he has members making soap who were presenting it. We met people who were doing rice in a way that's sustainable. Like, all those people came, and you could see the age range. It was not just young people. There were people of all kinds and all ranges, and they were so, I think, they felt so attached to what you did through Morino-Office. And for me, every time I return to your space, it's also how I feel that you created a very strong community, not just the people who use it for working, but also in the village or the city itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to, I don't want to like divide people who came from Tokyo and also the local residents who has been like living there. Their ancestors been living there for like more than like 3 decades. I wanted to make them collaborate and more get connected more and embrace themselves and embrace together by like showing what they're doing, and also making things more better, making like products better, make some new brands, and then you can like bring that to Tokyo, like Pauline when came. We rent event space in Tokyo Station and brought most of the people, most of the manufacturers, product owners, shop owners in Fujimi, and create a mini market of Fujimi. And yeah, I think that kind of event got us really like get stronger with the connectivity. Yeah,
definitely.
And also like in this 2 years, there's more than like 5 or 6 stores and restaurants opening in this 2 years, even in COVID. And for this small town, it's like opening like 50 stores in Shibuya. So yeah,
the scale is different, but the impact is as big.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And Val, I'm turning to you now because I mean I also love the story of Apocapoc and Nest City Lab because you have such a dedication towards sustainability and educating your community and extended community about it. Can you maybe dive deeper into that part of your mission? How do you allow people to go deeper into this topic?
Yeah, first I want to comment, congratulations again to all of you guys. It's amazing. I'm so interested in everything. And the second thing is as well, I think it's a very complicated question, the impact. So it's because most of what we're doing is almost invisible. So, and it's very subjective in the way we can see the things evolve. So right now we have actually a researcher that is investigating that question of the impact of the Nest City Lab for the members and the users of it. But of course, it's an ongoing investigation. We don't have the results yet, which is a pity because I would have loved to share that with you now. And so I would say, we do like social permaculture in the nest. So we use like the natural necessities of the human beings and the beings in general, even the dogs which are around and everything. And around those necessities, we create options to fulfill those necessities. And so an example of that is we all need nourishment. And when I talk nourishment, I'm not just talking about the belly, I'm also talking about your emotions and your brain and how you need to be stimulated on various aspects. So seeing that everyone would gather for lunch, we created like some rituals based on the necessities of the people. One of them is the learning lunch. So every Wednesday, we have the learning lunch where any member of the community can actually come and share something that they want to share. And we all around to learn. That's not necessarily learn about a new topic or learn about a new, a new tool. That can be anything. That can be learning about a new experience, learning about how you feel towards a certain topic and everything. And because this is very organic, that means we have a diversity of conversations, which is just amazing. And that's definitely impacting all of us in the way that we see the world through a bigger window. So instead of having that narrow way of looking at the world, we actually have we can touch any subject really during those learning lunch. And so the impact is subtle. It's kind of maybe we're changing the type of conversation we have. Maybe we are changing the type of questions we make. And we can see that it really impacts in the sense that when we go out of the nest, we so immersed into that experience that we forget that the world outside is not like this. So you would go and expect certain things, in the world outside of the nest, just because you're used to it. And then you realize, I forgot to say that I wanted a plant-based milk, and like, of course, outside they're just choosing something else, and, or I can see that people are not smiley and kind, when, here we just try to cultivate the kindness, we think it's an interesting thing to cultivate this. And then we get shocked, or we go to, other areas where they provide for services and goods, and everything is artificial and there's no, locality, or it's not organic, or it's not natural. And then we get like a culture shock, coming out of the nest. So I would say it has an impact because I have that culture shock and many members commented about it, that culture shock, And we also made, an agreement to actually keep exposing ourselves to the mainstream culture to make sure we don't forget that there's a long way to go to actually be able to change things progressively, and that we still need to, to just be very active about it and not just enjoy the life in the Nest City Lab. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's a hard one for me.
It does. It does, and actually, it's also connected to your name somehow, Apocapoc, like step by step. You're taking everyone on the same journey with you. We have a question from a viewer from Helsinki, which is for the three spaces, so for the three of you guys. And he's asking, and I'm going to read, are your members joining because of the mission or the utility value of your co-working space? So do they join because they connect to your mission, or do they join because of the space itself in general?
So yeah, now in our case, we have like a form to be able to enter and be a member, and that's one of the questions we have. You know, what do they recognize Necessity Lab for? And so we have the mission and the intention and why you're attracted to the Necessity Lab, and we can see like that the answers goes more and more towards the mission and the value of the place. So that's an element that we have and which is quantified. So it's more and more this, when at the very beginning, it was more for the visual attraction of the Necessity Lab. Everyone is attracted by plants and by wood and by all of that. And so we had a hard time to actually go from, you know, that natural attraction that as beings we have to making sure that we were not just here to be comfortable with nice view, right? That's not the point. And it's evolving, we can see it in the answers.
Tessa, Yoshio, do you have an answer to that?
Well, I think in our case, oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't worry. You can go ahead. Go ahead.
In our case, they go so much hand in hand that it's really hard to say, because obviously the space fits certain very specific requirements, which are also our mission. So in our case, it goes hand in hand.
Yoshio?
First, they are fascinated by the space and also the scenery of this mountain view. But after that, we go touring and we explain all the projects, what's happening here and also within the people. And by the time they come as a yearly member, I think 2/3 of them people are more into the mission and vision based, and also but still 1/3 of the people here are I guess like the facility and also the scene as well.
And Yoshio, there is a question for you from an architect who is asking, what was the building before? Was it? Did you build it from scratch? And if not, what was its function prior to becoming a co-working space?
Great question. We always get that. It was built in the 1960s. It was used by a university in Tokyo, I think, and it was a facility for a summer camp. And they every summer, students will come here to do some kind of summer camp activities. But when I first entered this building, it was a really good wooden structure. All these wood are still original. Yeah, these are still original. And the facility wasn't used for like 15 years. And the calendar put up on this building was like 15 or 16 years ago and never got changed. So the university, the owner, didn't use this place for a while. So the town government talked to the university to lend us for free, and the town renovated with their own budget.
And Val, there is a comment for you from Bulgaria. Someone says, Nest City Lab, I love the name. It is a place I could live in, just looking so close to nature and inspiring. I love Barcelona too. Plenty of luck to you guys. I think maybe just to wrap things up, I would like to ask you guys one last question. If co-working spaces right now would like to potentially think about the impact, and I know, as you said, that it's difficult because it's a non-tangible asset, but what would be your advice for them to start looking at how they impact their people or their city? How can they start looking at that at their own level? Whoever unmutes himself or herself first can go. I have no order preference.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? It's about how they can see the impact?
How can they start measuring or looking at the impact they have on people and cities when they operate a co-working space?
Maybe should I just start, since ours is so
Please,
specific? So when we started our project, I think we were definitely one of the first. There was maybe 2 or 3 other fashion and textile labs. And in all these years, 5 years, I've had a lot of requests from people wanting to open fashion and textile labs in their own cities and trying to understand how to do it. And I think the most important thing is to not follow a standard. I feel like a lot of people, they have this list of things. Oh, you do this, I'm going to do this. And no, actually, every city, especially in regards to the needs of the creatives and where they're going and what's available in the city already, has such specific needs. And I think one of the most important thing is to really do a lot of surveys, do a lot of research, understand your target and their needs like perfectly. And even then, I mean, it changes. Like for us, our target in the beginning, it needed a space. Now it needs more entrepreneurial help and things like this. We're becoming almost more of an accelerator and an incubator. So I really think the most important thing is ask what the specific needs are and do what's closest to you, because everything else can be outsourced, done somewhere else, but do what your specific thing is in that city.
That's
I think that
advice.
works.
Yeah.
For us, we're not industry specific, but most of the people who come to Morino-Office and also move away from Tokyo has these desires to realize their dream of life or dream of way of work. So listening to their story is really important. And like Tessa said, every people has their specific needs, especially for us, their needs for realizing their like the lifestyles and work, but job or some kind of collaborative projects also come into their lifestyle. So we always think about and focus on to realize their needs for like lifestyle, ideal lifestyle. What kind of project or job or other people can help them? So
Yeah.
we always think of what kind of connection we can have, and also we can how we can guide them to these to realize their ideal lifestyle. And project comes up, but some projects are like not visible for like 3 or 4 years, and they can come up in after that. It's really hard to measure, but I think just listening to people, to their stories, connecting, guiding, and also having lunch and dinner with them is probably the most easiest way to measure things.
On that note, Yoshio, there is a Berliner, so someone from Berlin commenting, amazing, I would love to move to Fujimi. And overall, she's thanking all of you guys for a very inspiring panel. Val, I will give you the last words before we wrap things up and take our selfie.
So thank you again, guys. There's so much wisdom in here. I'm just amazed. It's so great to see all those projects. So yeah, pretty much I'm just gonna make like a synthesis of like Tessa and Yoshio. It's just like a constantly observing and adapting. So observing through the ears, through the eyes, and through sharing experience together, and see what comes out of it, with not like a set series of steps to get to any type of impact. This needs to adapt all the time to what's really going on in the cities, to what's really going on in the world as well, and just to use those natural necessities and the energy to then be able to see, how everything impacts, right? And so I'm just saying, this is amazing, Tessa and Yoshio. I think we're kind of like having the same way of approaching what we're doing, and and to measure all of this, I would say, it's just to keep everything open, all our senses open, all our centers open. I mean, the brain, the emotions, and the heart as well, and to be able to listen to all of that, because this is so subjective and so difficult to actually understand what's going on, right? Because everything is complex. So so thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, everyone. So, I'm really happy we put this panel together because I knew there would be some magic happening, and it's exactly what's happening at the moment. So that's great. I would love to take a selfie. As usual, we are very selfie fans. So give up your best smile in front of the screen. And 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I have it. Thank you so much, guys, once again for being with us today. It was a very special panel. We even went a bit over time, but the conversation was it was quite amazing. So thanks for being so open. We are delighted to have you all in the book. And yeah, we can't wait to see you again in person soon, I hope.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Same here.
See you,
So
everyone.
fascinating.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
All right. We are back. Yeah, my screen is back also.
Hey,
you are
it's me
okay.
at the back now. I just want to thank everyone again, and something that we were talking through the years and meeting those spaces and some other ones that they also do a lot of preservation work that it's not talked about much, but actually in those spaces they have the capacity to and the resources to do a lot of preservation work in terms of like practices, sometimes with woodworking, sometimes with metalworking, sometimes with traditions or rituals that are specific to their regions and to their neighborhoods sometimes. And it's really nice to meet those spaces, read their stories, and get inspired by their work and how they help society in general, like being better, but also preserve and have more knowledge. That's sometimes we'll lose it if it's not done.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was my thinking while I was watching it. Thanks for all the comments that people put on the website, and I'll add your presentation again and let you present the next
last speakers. Yeah.